Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the vlog. Hope everyone is having a fantastic day. I am shaking a little bit because this is in fact a C8 Z06 and I'm very excited to be able to bring this car on the channel. I probably will be talking fast because that's something I do when I get excited, but this is truly a phenomenal car, and in today's video we are going to go over all the ins and outs of the C8 Z06. And as somebody that has now had 3 C8 Stingrays, I'm going to go over why this is truly the ultimate American supercar. And right off the bat, I want to make it very clear, this is not my C8 Z06. I'm borrowing this from a friend of mine, Attention to Detail in Dennis, Massachusetts. I've name dropped them a few times on my channel because they have done a ton of phenomenal ceramic coating, paint protection film, and detailing work over the years. A really nice small family-owned business, and so today the owner has let me borrow his personal C8 Z06 to make some content with. And there is going to be a lot of future content to come with this specific car, with some other really cool supercars. And so if you are stopping by for the first time, make sure to hit that subscribe button, smash the thumbs up button, and leave a comment down below on what your thoughts are on this 70th anniversary C8 Z06. Now, this particular car does have a truly phenomenal backstory. It involves a bad dealership, a price gouging dealership that ended up screwing the customer with some unethical behavior that ultimately resulted in corporate getting involved, regional reps, the state attorney general's office, a long runaround, allocations being taken from one place put to the other, a dealer potentially never getting another C8 Z06, but ultimately a good dealership stepped up and got this customer their C8 Z06. I actually brought this customer from Lamborghini and McLaren to Corvette. They brought a C8 Corvette Stingray, but it didn't have the top end power that they were used to, and so they ended up going after a C8 Z06. And once all the details are finalized, I do look forward to sharing the backstory of this car with everybody on the channel. But today we're going to go over this car, and this is a 2023 C8 Corvette Z06. Camera never does these tri-coat metallic colors any justice. You guys have seen it on the C8 Corvettes in the past. You guys have seen it on the carbon flash metallic as well as the radiant red mist on the Escalade. But in person, this color is truly phenomenal. The black accents and everything that General Motors and Chevrolet do with these special edition cars, particularly the C8R, now the 70th anniversary edition, they kind of spec them really well. This car does already have some mods. So going around, we have 5% window tint on the front, we have carbon fiber wrap on the side skirts, as well as carbon fiber wrap on the front lip. So taking a closer look, this is a vinyl wrap on the front lip from the factory without the Z07 package. This comes body color, so the wrap kind of adds some contrast and actually makes it look really good. And so coming around the front of this vehicle, you have these massive openings. Again, one of those things I wish General Motors did was make standard grille guards, but they are available after the fact or as an accessory option. But immediately you can see the presence of this car. It's significantly wider than the base C8 Stingray and a much more aggressive front end. That wider stance really sets this car off. In the rearview mirror, there is no mistaking the C8 Z06 with the Stingray. This wide, aggressive opening and front end really just does a phenomenal job of making this car look unique and exotic. In case you aren't wondering why there isn't a Corvette emblem on the front bumper, this car is fully paint protection filmed and ceramic coated, and so the owner had to obviously take the emblem off to paint protection film it. I've said in the past, the C8 Stingray just for some reason feels like a traffic cone because the front end kind of like gets pointy compared to the wider rear end, whereas on the Z06, the proportions of this car truly make this car look exotic and aggressive. And I think General Motors just did it right. Again, it looks just so good. The proportions match, the width, everything about this car is just really well done. Coming along the side of the car, traditional with the 70th anniversary edition, you get the red ring around the wheels. Huge, massive brakes on this car. Just look at the size of that rotor and that caliper. Big thing to note, this is not the carbon ceramic brake package. These are the standard brakes. And in my short time driving this car, which I will share some impressions later in the video, and I like the fact that there isn't an excessive amount of wheel gap. The owner of this vehicle does mod his vehicle, so I will have future mods of this car on the channel. There's the owner of the vehicle in its ERX. He just wants to make sure I'm not stealing the car. Coming back around to the side of the vehicle, a very wide and bold profile. You have massive openings for the intake and the cooling of the vehicle. Obviously a big motor, we'll get to that in a second. This car being a true supercar is going to need a good amount of cooling, and this widened stance of this vehicle just makes it look very aggressive and bold. A closer look at the carbon fiber wrap. This is a vinyl wrap on the factory carbon flash side skirts. I think it looks actually really good. And the owner even wrapped this in carbon fiber as well, just to kind of see what the carbon fiber looks like. Ultimately, I think the plan is to replace it with carbon fiber pieces from the aftermarket world. I personally love the placement of the Z06 badge. It's on this kind of like raised portion of the bottom rocker panel, and so it looks really good where it is. And then the 70th anniversary badge, again, red with the carbon flash, looks really good too. I'm sure you've already noticed this is a hardtop convertible, so we can't quite show off the 5.5 liter flat plane crank, making a whopping 670 horsepower, doing 0 to 60 in, I believe, 2.6 seconds. It's a very good look on the car. It truly solidifies the C8 Corvette platform as a supercar platform. I think there were doubters of the Stingray being a true supercar. I called it a supercar, mainly because it was like 8/10 of the way there, but it lacked top end power. This car checks every box for an exotic supercar, and I don't think there's much of a debate left. The C8 Z06 is a supercar, particularly for that motor. And the sound that comes with this vehicle is phenomenal. So to get a quick little sound clip, this car is within the first 500 miles. I will share it, but I won't be able to take it to the extremes. Let's take a listen. So in park, that's about all the sound that I can give you. This car is just shy of 500 miles, so I only went to like 2,500 RPMs. Again, I don't want to push it. It's not my car, and even if I was, I do like honoring the Chevrolet break-in period. So no hard launches in this video, but this car has such depth to the tone, and the high pitch once you get into the high RPM range is truly unique. And the pops and burbles video just doesn't capture it. It never did on any of the previous cars that I've filmed. But in person, truly a phenomenal, exotic, and unique sound. The engine itself sounds like a Ferrari 458 or a high revving flat plane crank Ferrari engine, but the exhaust still somehow sounds like a V10 Lamborghini with the burbles and pops. So it's a very unique blend of sound that General Motors has been able to extract from the C8 Z06. Not having the Z07 package, you get this kind of duckbill wing with these little wickers along the edges with the opening in the middle. So it's just a nice little classy look. I kind of wish that this was carbon flash. I believe the owner did spec this in carbon flash, but it came in white just like the mirrors. So maybe a constraint, or it just didn't get checked right when the order was placed. Coming along the back, this does have the black exhaust tip option, which I actually haven't seen in person. All of my C8 Stingrays had the factory chrome exhaust tips, but the black exhaust tips do look really good, especially on the C8 Z06. And just the overall layout of this back bumper, I think naturally this car was meant to have a center exit exhaust, and the side exit exhaust on the C8 Stingray just doesn't look good enough in my opinion, and this really just rounds out the overall look of the rear end of this car. And so moving on over to the inside, again, 5% tint. The interior is something you guys have already seen on the channel. This is the typical 70th anniversary interior with the white and black two-tone with the red accents. You have a lot of really cool red stitching with Alcantara suede all throughout the door panel. Cool thing with this car is it has the stealth interior package, which I believe is about a $600 option, so don't quite quote me on that, but it blacks out or kind of satin blacks the speaker grills as well as these inlays for the door switches. Otherwise, the traditional 70th anniversary interior with the Alcantara on the dash, and it has the carbon fiber interior trim pieces, and so very reminiscent of the carbon flash 70th anniversary C8 that I had at the start of this calendar year on the channel. Big thing to note interior wise that is different on the Z06 is this steering wheel is a lot more beefier. It's a lot more girthier. When you kind of just get in the car, you immediately pick up on how much more solid the steering wheel feels when you're driving the car. And it comes with carbon fiber inserts on the steering wheel, both top and bottom, as well as the paddle shifters come as carbon fiber. And lastly, the red accent seat belts on these really good looking GT2 seats. And so this vehicle is really close to the 500 mile mark, and I don't want to cross that. I want to leave that for the original owner to be able to enjoy that kind of milestone that's part of owning a C8 Corvette. And so with this not being my car as well, I don't want to put a lot of miles on it. This is a very rare and special car, and so we'll do quick driving impressions here. Quick little driving review. Again, not much for driving impressions in this video. This car is very close, as you can see, to 500 miles, and so I want to save the 500 mile cutover for the original owner. but my initial impressions is this car is very fast, and it's mind-boggling how much faster it is compared to the C8 Stingray. The C8 Stingray is quick, but it's not fast, and the difference is that on the top end, the C8 Stingray kind of just leaves a lot to be desired, whereas this car on the top end, the pull is just insane. You don't feel like you're missing any power across the power band, whereas on the C8 Stingray you did get some of that on the top end. In terms of the transmission, it shifts really good. It's a little bit more violent and a little bit more aggressive than the C8 Stingray, but it's nowhere near, say, the Lamborghini Huracan Technica, which really beats you up. This is still very refined and a very controlled car. It actually is so smooth. And in all fairness, nothing beats the sound. Pops alone are just really crisp. It's really nice. And from the factory, this car sounds like this. This sounds like a Lamborghini Huracan with an aftermarket exhaust and a tune. You get this on a C8 Corvette in the Z06 stock. And so that's really everything that I have for quick driving impressions. Again, because of where this car is for mileage, I don't want to drive too much doing a review, but for now, this is a quick, comprehensive walk around of the car with some initial driving impressions. And that's really a big overview of the C8 Z06. I'm very excited to be able to get my hands on this car. I've waited a full year for it. I didn't put my rant at the beginning, but my rant's always part of my videos at the end. I've unfortunately waited a full year and my order is officially canceled. It's going to get rolled over into a 2024 because my C8 Corvette dealer that sells at MSRP can't get enough cars to sell at MSRP, even though another dealer 30 miles away has gotten 3 times as many cars to be able to price gouge the end consumer for hundreds and thousands of dollars over MSRP. But that's kind of General Motors for you. They make some fantastic vehicles with some horrendous buying experience, but that's the General Motor and Chevrolet experience. It doesn't reflect in any way, shape, or form on how truly incredible the C8 Z06 is. This is a special car. This is a unique car, and I'll be the first to admit it is a privilege to own a car that is so rare because it's so desirable and it's just built so well. This renews my excitement to someday be able to get into a C8 Z06 of my own. Obviously, the white tri-coat metallic is not going to be an option for 2024, so I will have to pick another color. And in person, I think the blacked out A-pillars with the blacked out nacelles and the blacked out roof just make this car look very exotic. And think of it as free content because I will be able to do some pretty cool videos of mods done to this car in the near future. High flow cats are on order for this owner, and I'll be able to film some of that install as well as some of the sound that's going to come out of high flow cats to make this car sound even cooler. So that's all I have for today's video. Just a quick walk around of the C8 Z06, a quick overview of what this car is, a quick overview of what this car sounds like, just a quick impressions of my initial impressions driving the C8 Z06. I am very thankful to the owner of this vehicle for trusting me to make a video with this car. Stay tuned, there is a lot more content to come with this car, a lot more content to come with this car versus some other cars. I won't leave anyone to imagination. A Lamborghini Huracan Technica will probably line up with this car. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a big old thumbs up. If you have not already, definitely go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And as always, until the very next video, I look forward to seeing all of you in the comment section below.